Hi guys, Lindsay here with Storybook Family Farm. So normally I like to film outside, but today for some reason the ducks and geese are just going bananas. They've just been honking and just losing their minds. So I can't really film outside, it's way too distracting. It's honestly distracting sitting inside, like seeing them, and yeah, it just can't keep my train of thought going. But so anyways, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that I've been doing the last week or so that's really helped shift things on the homestead significantly. And that is actually remembering to basically do a lot of gratitude exercises. So normally whenever I'm eating food, I usually as I'm eating the different things, I thank the farmer. Even if it's just random ham that we got from a family member given to us and stuff. I always thank the farmer. As I'm eating the ham, I thank the pig for giving their life. I thank the farmer for basically putting their energy into it. I thank the people that went into processing it. I go through this whole spiel. And I used to be really good about doing this all of the time, and it really helped put things into perspective. But I haven't done it in a long time. I haven't been giving thanks like I used to. I haven't been appreciating things like I used to be. And I noticed that was a bit of a problem. I noticed that it was kind of making it hard for me to see the blessings around me. So I started doing that again. And the other day when I was eating my breakfast, I went about the whole spiel of thanking the cows that made the cheese and the people that processed it and people that harvested it and milked the cow and then turned it into cheese and doing this whole process. And I did the whole thing with the ham and all this stuff. And then when it came time to actually thanking the person that raised the eggs, myself, thanking the person that raised the chickens, thanking the person that, tapped the maple trees for my syrup for on my eggs. I love syrup on cheesy eggs. That is just one of the things I absolutely love. But I noticed that when it came time to thanking myself, it felt wrong. As stupid as it sounds, I can give thanks to the people that culled the pig, that butchered the pig, that processed the pig, the people that worked at the factory, that smoked the ham, that, the truck drivers that took it to the store, the people at the store that handled it, that, the cashier that rang it out, the family member that bought it and forgot about it in their freezer and then ended up giving it to us. I can go through that whole thing of gratitude. But when it came time for me to thank myself for raising the chicken, it was that's dumb. I feel so stupid. I'm just doing my job. But then I thought about the fact that I'm thanking all these other people for doing their jobs, and I've been forgetting to ever thank myself for the work that I've done. I can thank my chickens. It doesn't feel weird for me to thank the chickens for producing the egg, but it feels weird for me to thank myself for protecting the chickens from predators, for opening up the door every day for them, for shutting the door again, for feeding them, for giving them water, for protecting them and stuff, for all the times that I've ran outside chasing falcons away to keep them safe. It felt really weird to me to actually sit and give myself thanks. And then I sat there for a while as I'm eating the maple syrup and enjoying all the flavors of it, and thinking about how much work it was for me to do that this year, with how bad my back hurt and all these injuries and just how difficult it was. And I realized that while I've been appreciative of the flavor of things that I've done, appreciative of the vegetables that we grow on the homestead, the meat that we harvest, and all this stuff, I'm never giving myself credit for doing these things. I'm giving the rabbits credit for the meat that they created. I'm thanking the rabbits for giving birth, for, extending their line and doing all these things and the sacrifices that they're making. But when it comes down to thanking myself and appreciating myself for the work that I've done, I realized that was something that I wasn't doing at all, and that I haven't done pretty much my whole life. I've always pretty much just mentally talked shit to myself, told myself how stupid I was or how foolish I was because I made this mistake, or I made this wrong step, or I should have done this better, I should have done this earlier in life, or I should have, all of these things of just so much negative self-talk. And I realized, because I've been working on myself for the last several months, honestly, of doing a lot of inner work, a lot of healing, a lot of trying to transmute a lot of shadow energy within myself, I realized that that's part of why I can't love myself, that I can't give myself time to heal, that I can't give myself breaks, that I feel guilty about giving myself any sort of self-care, is because I realized basically at the core of it, I don't appreciate myself. I don't value myself. I don't value my work, my energy, my effort, any of that stuff. And once I realized that the other day, I was and it was oh my God, this has been holding me back so much energetically and healing wise and stuff, to realize that not only am I basically hating on myself all the time, I'm also expecting that other people are going to appreciate me and my efforts and my job and my work and the time and energy that I put into things and the love that I put into things. I keep expecting that people are going to give back to me and like basically appreciate those things, but yet I don't even appreciate them when I do them for myself. You know, like when we did the farmer's market the one time, I remember that I had packed up a bunch of produce. This was when we lived in the camper, so this was like our first year of doing farmer's markets. I had actually harvested quite a bit of produce that Tracy and I would have loved to eat for ourselves. It was like the first zucchinis of the year. And like we had just been like, oh, so mouth-watering over it. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll just take them to the market. I'll take them to the market and I'll sell them at the market and stuff because somebody will appreciate them just as much as we will. And then we'll also get a couple bucks back. Like it'll, you know, kick back to us and stuff. So we sold them to these customers and stuff. And I you know, talked up about how amazing these were and all this stuff. They were our favorite variety. They're like little round, like 8-ball zucchinis. They're really super tender, really delicious, really juicy and stuff. And I like talked up about it, about how amazing they were. And these customers, they bought it and stuff. They bought all of them that we had. And I was like, yeah, their whole family's going to enjoy this. Like I felt such a sense of gratitude. And then the next week I asked them, I said, hey, because they were regulars, I said, how'd you guys like those zucchinis? And they're like, yeah, they're still in our fridge. We forgot about them. And I was just like, wow, they were so excited about them and they didn't even appreciate the amount of work, the effort, the energy that I poured into it, the love that I poured into these zucchinis and stuff. Like I would have much rather enjoyed them myself because I would have appreciated the work that I put into it. And with saying that, for the last, I don't know, 2 years or so, like basically once we got to this property, this project, like I used to be able to see that what I was doing like was really worth appreciating. And I used to thank myself for doing a lot of homesteading stuff and growing the food. And like whenever I would be canning stuff up, because, you know, smart homesteaders, they try to operate like a year ahead with their produce and stuff. That's how we're still eating canned goods, was because of actually operating a couple years ahead when we lived in town. When I was canning stuff up, I would be really tired and I would be really like sore and my knees would hurt and stuff, and being in the kitchen on my feet all the time. At that point, Tracy worked midnight, so we were on a midnight schedule, so I was just up all night just going crazy and stuff, you know, with canning and everything. I would stop and I'd be like, I'm so tired. And then I would think about how a future version of myself would be so appreciative of what the past version of myself did, and that I would be able to get that appreciation back whenever future me would then be like, thank you, self, for growing the green beans. Thank you, soil. Thank you, every creature, every organism, everything that went into it. Thank you, rabbit manure, for growing this, and, you know, doing all the whole gambit, because I had assumed that that was something that I would never forget, that I would always remember to stay grateful and appreciative of not only the efforts that others have done, but also the efforts that I've done. But in saying that, since we got here and throughout the process of living a really difficult life in the camper and then getting here and, you know, basically the last 3 years, I've pretty much fallen off of doing that. And I think that that's a big part of why I just feel like this sense of like, nobody even appreciates it. Like no one sees the value of what I'm doing, because honestly, I wasn't seeing it and stuff. So basically a couple of days ago when I had that big epiphany while eating the eggs, that I've not been doing what I've been supposed to do, that I've not been filling my own cup by showing my own self-gratitude and stuff, I started doing that again. And I started walking around the property and walking around the farm and just thanking each of the goats for being there, thanking each of the chickens for what they provide and stuff, whether it be just genetics for little chicken nuggets to run around, or if it's eggs, or, you know, just everything. Thanking the elderberry bush that I walk by that's now growing into my path that I keep bumping into and stuff. Whenever it reaches out and touches me, I just keep, honestly, in my head, just saying thank you. And that simple act of just seeing something beautiful, seeing a butterfly fly in front of me and just saying thank you, like, it has changed so much inside of me. Like everything just feels so much easier, so much lighter, so much like almost like a breath of fresh air. Like, because now there's all of this, I don't know, it sounds really silly, but it feels like there's such an air of appreciation now. It's like I can feel how much appreciation there is for me from people that drive by now, that see the transformation of our home, appreciation from the land for what I've done here and stuff, and how much work I've done here and stuff. And it's just like I keep feeling like this wave just washing over me, just so much gratitude, you know. And part of it is me giving it back to myself. Part of it is me acknowledging and validating, like, yeah, you worked your hiney off here. Like, you did so much work and stuff that I have reason to be grateful, that I have reason to celebrate and stuff. But, you know, part of it is just remembering to see the blessings. So that's it for today. Tracy just got home from the feed mill. The dogs are all going crazy. I have no idea if you guys can hear them or not, but right now we're dog sitting for my parents, and currently right now with all the puppies and stuff, we have like 14 dogs in the house. So I'm gonna get off here because I'm about to lose it. So thanks for watching. Have a good one, guys.